Welcome to COMM 3353. In this video, I will be going through the basic concept of CSS. I want to give you an illustration using human body. If a web page is a person, then HTML will be the structure, the bone of that person, and CSS will be the skin, the clothing of that person. You can't have one without the other. And that's why it's impossible to teach HTML without CSS. In this video, I will be showing you what CSS is and how CSS works. CSS stands for Cascade Style Sheet. It allows you to create rules that control how the element should look. For example, you can use CSS to change the color, position, and the size of a paragraph or a heading. Here, we have a basic syntax of CSS. It starts with a selector here, followed by a curly bracket. Inside the curly bracket, we have decoration. Decoration has two parts, property and value. This CSS rule is telling the browser to select the P element and change its color to yellow. The selector can be anything. It can be P element. It can also be H1 element. You can also define a class and select it from the CSS selector. We will cover that later in the class. Color here is a CSS property. There are plenty of properties you can select from in CSS. Since this is just a demonstration, we will not go into detail on all the properties. For full reference, please go to W3 Schools, following the link on the screen. There are many ways to define color value. You can define a color by name, or you can define it by using hexadecimal or RGB value. If you want to learn more about CSS color value, please refer to the link on the screen. There are three ways to style your HTML page using CSS: inline, internal, and external. I will cover each method step by step. The file I'll be using in this video is also available under Week 7 module. There is a file called Demo CSS. You may practice using the file provided after watching the video. In this video, I will be using Sublime Text. Sublime Text is a free and lightweight text editor that works on both Mac and PC. If you're in the lab, it should have already been installed. If you're using it on your own computer, you may use any text editor you like. But if you would like to use Sublime Text, simply go to sublimetext.com and download it from their website. After you downloaded both the practice file and Sublime Text, you may begin by simply dragging the exercise folder into Sublime Text. And you will see three files. The first file we will be working on is called css-practice.html. So let's take a look on how this HTML page looks like. We can see that there is no style on it. So let me demonstrate how to use inline method to style the heading. To style using the inline method, we don't need selector since we're already inside the element. So let's give it an attribute called style, followed by equal sign, and followed by double quotation mark. If we want to change the color, then the property will be color, and followed by colon, followed by the value, which is red in this case. And we want to end it with semicolon. Make sure there is double quotation mark to close this attribute. So let's save the file and go back to the browser, hit refresh, and now we see that we have used CSS inline method to change the color. Using the inline style is easy. However, it's not very effective. What if I have 10 H1 elements in this page? Then I will have to go into each element and style them one by one. A more effective way to style is the internal method. In order to style internally, let's go inside the head element and give it a child element called style. And inside the style element, we need to first define the selector. So let's say if we want to select H1 element, then we will simply type H1, followed by curly brackets. Property will be color, red, and with semicolon. Let's delete the inline, save the file, go back, and refresh. So now you see nothing happened, but actually this heading is being styled internally instead of inline. So let's try to duplicate the H1 element and save it. Go back to the browser and refresh. You see, now every H1 element is being styled at the same time. The benefit of using internal method to style is that it allows you to select the element more easily. Let's say if we don't want every H1 element to be red, we only want certain elements to be red, then we could do so by assigning a class. To do so, add the attribute class, followed by equal sign, double quotation mark, and inside the double quotation mark, we can give any value. Let's name it red heading. And I can duplicate this, place it to the H1 element next to it. And instead of using H1 as our selector, we can point to the class by using period and followed by the class name red heading. Let's save the file and refresh the browser. So now only the heading that has a class red header is being styled. While using the internal method is more efficient than using the inline method, we still have a problem. As you can see, right now we have two HTML pages. If I want them to have the same style and look, I will have to style internally one by one. So let me demonstrate how to style externally. To start, go to File, New File, and you will have the same CSS rule. In this case, I'll just copy and paste it here. And you want to save, when you save it, you may give it any name you want. I would like to name it Style. And remember, it has to follow by .css. I will not save it here because I already have a CSS file ready. So let's see how to link the style sheet to this HTML page. If you look inside the head element and under title element, there's a comment out section. Let me delete those comments. And now we have a element called link. The link element links the CSS style sheet to this HTML page. There are two attributes inside this link element, rel and hypertext reference. Rel stands for relationship, and the value is style sheet. It is telling the browser that this link element is bringing in a style sheet. Hypertext reference tells the browser where to look for the style sheet. And in the value, you will type the location and the file name of the style sheet. So let's delete the class. and save the file. So now this HTML page is being styled externally by using this element and linking it to the style CSS. So let's go back to the browser and refresh. So now you have a complete different style just by linking it to external CSS. If we open another file called page2.html, you will see there's the same commented out session, and let's delete that comment. Click on it and you will see the consistent style of these two pages. And if you want to change the style, you don't have to go into the page one by one. Just go to the style CSS, and let's say if I want to change the background from red to white, I will come here, save, refresh, and it will apply to both pages. So this is the external method of styling your page.